So I'm currently reading 4 books, which is very unlike me because usually I'm reading 2 at a time, not 4. But I basically I don't know how I ended up reading 4 exactly, but yeah, I guess I just got bored with reading them or something, or yeah, something happened. And so anyway, I have started 4 books. So I thought I would film my reading journey, since that is kind of what I feel like doing today. So what I'm going to do is share the 4 books that I'm reading, and then I'm going to share the synopsis reading, and I'll put this in the description box, the timestamps, so that way if you want to listen to the synopsis reading, you can, or if you don't, you don't have to. Usually for me, I don't like to read the synopsis. I just like to jump in a book, but sometimes I do want to read the synopsis to make sure it might be something that I like, because I do have over 5,000 books on my want to be read or to be read pile in Goodreads. So if you follow me on Goodreads, then you can see all of that. So what I am currently reading is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I think you can see it. Yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. I am the furthest into this book because I did start it a while back. I think I started it in July and it's August, but I have had a lot going on, and yeah, so I'm just going to read the synopsis. Okay. At a party celebrating the end of the academic year, Maple Hill students Russ Callahan and Aurora Roberts have a passionate one-night stand. Never one to overstay her welcome or expect much from a man, Aurora slips away before Russ even has a chance to ask for her full name. Days later, they run into each other in their new jobs as summer camp counselors, hoping to escape their complicated home lives. Russ knows breaking the camp's strict no-staff fraternizing rule will have him heading to... I messed up. I'm going to reread that sentence. Russ knows breaking the camp's strict no-staff fraternizing rule will have him heading back to Maple Hills before the summer is over. But unfortunately for him, Aurora has never been very good at caring about the rules. So I read Camp Counselors, and that's kind of why I guess I bought it. That and the cover. I actually liked this cover better than the first and third book covers. And I did see where it was a Maple Hills novel, but it doesn't say which one, and I was kind of in a hurry, so I just grabbed it, kind of not thinking also that it was part of a series, I guess. Like I said, I was in a hurry. So, as of right now, I am on chapter 29 of 37. And according to Goodreads, I am 73% finished with the book. But my previous thoughts on the synopsis was, like I said, I read Camp Counselor. And so I thought it would be kind of a counseling type book, with some psychology or I don't know, something. But it's basically a romance novel. It is an adult, I think, an adult novel. It looks like a young adult novel, but I'm not real sure. I think it's more for adults. But I do kind of wish, well, I say I wish. I'm just going to say this. If I were the beta reader for this book, I would have a couple of suggestions. And I guess I'll put it this way. I wish it had a little bit more substance. I mean, I know a romance novel is a romance novel, and it's not like a full adult romance novel, if that makes sense. But it's still kind of an adult romance novel, and it's more focused on romance, which is great. But I don't know, for me, I just kind of was expecting a little bit more out of it and more substance. So that's one thing that I would probably say, if I were a beta reader, or I don't know, writing a review, which my review will be on Goodreads, and it won't be too harsh, but yeah, because I don't want to, talk bad about the author, because, authors put a lot of time and effort into their books, and I'm sure that they see them as their babies and they're really proud of them. So you know, I don't want to completely bash it. I just think there's some tweaking that could have been made to make it a lot better, at least for me. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. So the second book I'm reading is How to Choose a Guy in 10 Days by Lila Monroe. That one I have on digital. It's an ebook. I can try to show you. I think I showed you in another video. I think it was a vlog. But yeah, I am currently, I don't know if you can see. Whoop. You see? Yeah, okay. So I'm on chapter 13 of 27. And according to Goodreads, I am 51%, so I'm a little bit over halfway. I reached that mark. So let me read the synopsis real quick. I have to get to it, 1 second. So this is the synopsis for How to Choose a Guy in 10 Days. Stylist Gemma Jones is competing for a once-in-a-lifetime promotion. All she has to do is take some fashion-backward guy from geek to GQ worthy. The only problem, the man in question is her hairy neighbor, I'll say, of a next-door neighbor, aka Bigfoot. Zach Morrison has zero interest in being Gemma's makeover mannequin. Sure, it's fun getting his smart-mouthed neighbor all riled up, but after cashing out of his tech startup and going through an ugly breakup, he's taking a permanent vacation. If he wants to wear sweatpants and sleep on a mattress in the corner of an empty apartment, okay, maybe he needs a little push in the right direction. But as Gemma races the clock to win her bet, she finds that Bigfoot's been hiding a few things under his baggy flannel shirts, like abs of steel and okay, I'm not even reading that. And a surprisingly big heart. He has a big heart. Soon sparks are flying between this unlikely couple. But can Zach embrace a fresh start? However, okay, I'm not reading that. And will Gemma beat out rival? Okay. And will Gemma beat out her rival for the top spot and keep the truth about their bet from Zach? It's actually not too bad. So it's really not too bad. I would say it's a little bit better than Wildfire as far as my preference, because I do think there's some extra side stuff going on that provides a little more substance, in my opinion. Again, it's still, like a romance, whatever. I don't know if it's a young adult or not, but yeah, it's got a little bit more perspective, maybe I could say. But anyway, so that is that. That's really all I have to say about that one so far. I am only about halfway through, so I have a good more chunk of the book to go through, but that's kind of my thoughts as of right now. And then the third book I am reading is not a fiction book. It is I guess it's kind of a self-help book. So it's adult children it is adult children of emotionally immature parents. And I really liked the title of this, and I think I read the synopsis, but I think the title pretty much said it all. And I think this book is really good if you are interested in psychology, if you're a psychology major or minor. I think it's also good just to read. You don't necessarily have to be an adult child of an emotionally immature parent. But yeah, I think that it's a really interesting book to read because I think you'll learn more about other people, and I think more understanding will grow and more empathy and all of that. So yeah, it kind of helps you better understand people. And I would say it helps you understand people from a more empathetic perspective, at least in my opinion. So let me see if I can find the synopsis because I'm actually reading this digitally on the laptop. If you grew up with an emotionally immature, unavailable, or selfish parent, you may have lingering feelings of anger, loneliness, betrayal, or abandonment. You may recall your childhood as a time when your emotional needs were not met, when your feelings were dismissed, or when you took an adult levels of responsibility in an effort to compensate for your parents' behavior. These wounds can be healed and you can move forward in your life. In this breakthrough book, clinical psychologist Lindsay Gibson exposes the destructive nature of parents who are emotionally immature or unavailable. You will see how these parents create a sense of neglect and discover ways to heal from pain and confusion caused by your childhood. By freeing yourself from your parents' emotional immaturity, you can recover your true nature, control how you react to them, and avoid disappointment. Finally, you'll learn how to create positive new relationships so you can build a better life. Discover the 4 types of difficult parents, and it's listed on Goodreads. So I will leave this linked in the description box along with all of the other Goodreads links to the books. I'll leave all of that linked in the description box so you can read them for yourself if you would like. But basically, according to Goodreads, I think I'm on page, I have to look, give me 1 second. I'm on page 53 of 201 pages total. So I'm 26% in. And I'm not very far into it because I started this last year and then I had to start back to school for the final semester. And then I had life going on. And as of the last few months, I just haven't really wanted to read it because I've had too much going on. And it's also, I don't know if I want to say it's a heavy book, but it's not a light read. It's not a summer read. It's not a fiction book. It's, it's kind of, it's almost like a textbook a little bit, but it's not written like a textbook. It's just really dense because there's a lot there that she shares, and it's not necessarily negative. It's just, I don't know. I see it from a scholarly perspective, so that's just kind of how I see it. Hopefully that helped you get a sense of how the book is. It's not too hard to read. It's just the concepts make it dense, and it makes it, for me, it's, with life and everything, it's taking a little bit longer to read that book than the other books. So, okay, so the last book I'm reading is Enchantment, The Life of Audrey Hepburn by Danielle Spoto. And I can read that synopsis as well. Okay, this is a really long synopsis. So, okay, this is the synopsis, but there's more to it. So if you want to read the whole thing, it's on Goodreads, linked below. But basically, tracing her astonishing rise to stardom from her harrowing childhood in Nazi-controlled Holland during World War II to her years as a struggling ballet dancer in London and her Tony Award-winning Broadway debut in Gigi, Spoto illuminates the origins of Audrey's tenacious spirit and fiercely passionate nature. So that is Enchantment, The Life of Audrey Hepburn. I am almost on chapter 3. I actually started this, I think, 2 days ago. I was in the library. I had a meeting to attend to, but I ended up browsing the books, of course, and I was looking for one actually, but they didn't have it, so I ended up picking this book up. And I just started reading it because I really like Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, I just thought it would be an interesting book, and I wanted to read. I kind of felt like reading while I was there, so I didn't have any of my other books with me, I'm pretty sure, so I got one from there. I'm almost on chapter 3. I don't remember if I said that. It shows that I'm 8% finished on Goodreads. So I'm not very far into it. But so far it's really good and it's really interesting. And yeah, life has my mind kind of drifting off a little bit, unfortunately, when I'm reading it. But overall, it's still a really good book. And so far, I recommend it. But again, I'm only 8% in. And I think I'm on page 28. So take that however you will. But that is currently what I am reading, and I would probably recommend at least 2 of these books, maybe 3. Yeah, maybe 3. If you want a light read, I would say How to Choose a Guy in 10 Days. Again, I'm only halfway through. The Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, that's a good one. But I do like, reading psychology stuff. And then Enchantment, The Life of Audrey Hepburn. I've been really into memoirs and biographies lately. But yep, that's what I'm currently reading. And hopefully I can get through some of this today. I did get one chapter further in today of Wildfire. I'm actually trying to finish that because I found myself drifting off. I mean, I know life is kind of like crazy right now for me, but I still find myself drifting off more than I probably should be in a book. It's not really capturing my attention, so I'm really trying to finish this book. I also have been reading this one longer than the other 3, so I just really want to finish it and move on and finish reading the others and start new books. So that's where I am on my reading journey. And if you actually have read one of these books, or if you want to read one of these books, list that in the comments below. That would be really interesting. So I just got back from a walk, and it is now 6 p.m. And I have basically only read about almost 2 chapters in the Wildfire book. I really thought I was going to read more, but I was really into reading this morning, and I got off on other things because I just felt like I needed to do a few business things, but I just haven't really been in a reading mood like I was feeling this morning. So I'm not real sure how much more reading I'm going to get done. We shall see. I'm going to probably try to work on my yoga class a little bit instead. So I might read another chapter or something, but I think I am just going to wrap up this video here and just call it a reading recap instead of a reading vlog, because I feel like it was more of a recap than a vlog because I'm not reading. So yeah, I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. And so I just wanted to add a couple more books to my reading recap. I read this book, One by One by Frida McFadden. I don't know if you can see it or if it's backwards, but this was a really good book. I actually finished this book in, I would say, 3 to 5 days. What am I thinking? My review is on Goodreads. I finished that pretty quickly. I really enjoyed that book. And then I started, I don't remember when, I have to look. Well, no, I don't really remember when I started this, but I did start The Psychology of Money, and this is a really good book, honestly. It's not a very quick read, but it is really good, and I do recommend it. So yeah, I think I'm about halfway through. I'm about on chapter 10, I believe. So yes, I hope to finish that soon. I don't know when I will be able to finish it because, like I said, it's not one of those books you can read really quick. It's not like One by One by Frida McFadden, which is a thriller, by the way. So if you love thrillers, definitely pick that one up. But yeah, I just wanted to mention those 2 books and add those onto my reading recap. All of my final reviews after I read all of the books will be on Goodreads. And also, I am reading one more that I don't think I mentioned. I'm I'm crazy. I'm reading what is it called? Genie Out of the Bottle by Barbara Eden. So I really like that one so far. I'm actually liking that one a little more than the Audrey Hepburn one at this point. Um, but like I said, my final review will be on Goodreads. Anyway, I hope you liked this video and maybe added some of these books to your own TBR list or your Goodreads list or whatever list you are keeping. And I will see you in the next video.